Hey, I'm Gazbot. Hello to Ox. Hey, what's up? It's me, Gazbot. In the interest of getting things flowing again, I decided to try to just do one video a day for the next week. Let me rephrase that. I'm going to record once a day for the next week. Just whatever comes to mind, not necessarily art, but just whatever. And so I was about to go out for a hike with my kid, and I was in the bedroom and I was looking at my Star Wars Black Series cases. And this is a collection that I didn't plan on having. As you can see now, it's 2 full bookcases with a bunch I have to sell or trade or get rid of. And this has a lot of room left in it, but there are, of course, figures coming out that will fill that. And the strange result is that the traditional 375 collection, which has been the one I've collected for, I don't know, decades, I'm on the verge of getting rid of. I might keep my big vehicles, such as the AT-AT, the Millennium Falcon, the Slave One, or Boba Fett ship as it's now known, as well as the Ghost, which I just crowdfunded, and I might get the N1 Starfighter from the Mandalorian. But the Black Series is my new figure collection. I have hundreds of 375, which I will probably get rid of and pare down to the bare minimum, probably keeping a lot of Luke Skywalker since he's my favorite. Yeah, that's all. It really has nothing to do with anything, except for I was just having this thought, which I've had a few times since I moved, but it's becoming more and more true and real the more figures I get in this collection, because it used to be not so expansive. But now it's gotten to the point where, like, I've got my Bad Batch, I've got my Rebels, I'm starting my Ahsoka, you know, I've got my Boba Fett and my Mandalorian, and like it's got everything. It's got everything I could want, with very few exceptions. And in a way, it's better because the super obscure characters that I don't really need, that I have, you know, multiples of in my 375, I will just not get, or keep in 375. I don't know. It's a work in progress, but the point is, look at this, it's getting there. And then what I'm probably going to do, that's my dresser that I got from an old art friend of mine named Kevin. When we used to live together in New Jersey, I ended up with that, and it's moved with me several times, but I might get rid of it or move it and put some sort of shelf thing here maybe, and also that's useless. I'll probably get rid of that. And then that area will just have a couple vehicles in it, and that's what that'll be. Like the way the Millennium Falcon is now, but I'll also have the Ghost and a few others. That's a rough plan. I don't know about that. There's some laundry. And yeah. So this is Thursday. Okay. Hey, that plan to just record something every day, that didn't happen. That was days ago. Today is Wednesday. And basically, once I get done with that picture of Boots, which I guess I'm showing here, like the final thing, I haven't drawn anything. Well, that's not true. I did a rough of a Power Rangers headshot, but that's not much. That was like 20 minutes one day. I was going to film this while I made lunch. All right, well, you're just going to be looking at my hands for this. I don't believe, well, okay, I don't know what I believe. I don't believe in art flow. Like, I think I do believe in art flow. I just think I don't get it very often. But I do believe in flow, not in terms of like being in the moment. Belief is, I retract everything I just said. I find habits, you know, momentum, inertia, you know, it's like, oh, if you work out every day, then you work out every day. But when you stop it, I found the same way with art. When I was doing those turtle sketches, even if that's all I was doing, a half hour, whatever a day, I was doing it every day, like no problem. And as soon as I got hung up on the Boots thing, it started slowing down, and then I finally finished it. And then I had a birthday party I had to plan, and then I had a family event, and then I felt kind of sick yesterday, and I haven't drawn. And so today I'm feeling pretty okay. I'm thinking I'm going to jump back into it. Now I'm saying that now, and theoretically in about an hour and a half I should have time to do that, but experience teaches me that it won't always work out that way for a variety of reasons. However, my plan is to do 2 things. One, I have a rough, I'm doing Ranger Stop, which is a Power Rangers convention, second biggest in the country, in Florida, which I've done a few times, but I haven't done in a few years. And there's some Ranger actors there that I don't have art of. I don't know if I'll do new art for all of them, but I'm going to do a few, and I started one. I don't plan on finishing that today, but there is some, in my sketch, some of the things are wrong about the helmet, and I was having trouble finding reference for the top of the helmet. So what I'm going to do is look for reference in the first half hour of my break, which is usually broken up and inconsistent, and I'll have to go to the bathroom or whatever, so it's not really a full half hour. So I'm just gonna look for good reference, and if there's any time, try to correct my rough. Then, going into the full hour of my break, which usually is better, not always, I'm going to try to, A, book my flight and hotel for that show, and then B, after that is done, try to work on my page of the horror. One second. Okay, but anyway, so yeah, lofty goals, but a lot of times I try to get household stuff done. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to get reference, correct my rough, book a flight, book a hotel, try to work on the horror A4. All of that in an hour and a half, which will definitely be interrupted at least once, maybe twice. Yep, nope. All right, so life is unpredictable, and towards the end of lunch, there was a milk spill, which I cleaned up, but then it was this weird thing where I was keeping my cool and, you know, just sort of talking and being calm, and yet somehow, after cleaning up the milk spill and taking off the clothes and putting them in the laundry, the child who caused the problem started just going crazy and running around in circles around the whole house in their underwear, and giggling and laughing, wanting me to chase. So, like, I couldn't chase, and I tried to just keep my cool. I'm like, all right, I'm going upstairs. You know, can you come upstairs? And they're not coming upstairs. So then I went downstairs and tried to look sad or disappointed or, nah, it didn't matter, you know. I tried raising my voice, like, come on, you know, it didn't matter, you know. And then eventually I just sat there and they kept running around and they were literally going, I'm having fun. This is great. I'm running and I shouldn't be running. And I'm like, all right. So eventually I went to grab them and I got them and I took off their earrings, which, like, these little clip-in earrings. My earrings! And they lost their mind. And I'm like, all right. And I potato sacked them up the stairs and they're like, this is horrible. And I'm like, you kidding me? This is horrible for me, but I'm still keeping my cool. But then they just started going crazy, and they're not brushing their teeth and just flinging themselves on the ground and almost hurting themselves and screaming and laughing the whole time. And you know, it was extremely tiring physically and mentally. And eventually I get them in their room and then they're just screaming like they broke their leg because, like, oh, I dropped my toy or whatever, like nothing was happening. And so I laid down and then went to the bathroom and I had to go in there 3 times and they peed and they pooed in their diaper and it was just like a mess. And so I got done with that, and that took, you know, that was like most of that first half hour, as I said. And then I was like, all right, I'm gonna go get coffee and eat cookies, which I shouldn't, and I did that, and I played a video game on my phone, and I chilled out, and I came into my office. At that point, I had 40 minutes left. I'm at the end of 40 minutes right now. I should be in there now, but I'm recording this. And I looked up research for the black Wild Force helmet, and I redid the rough. So that isn't really what I planned on doing. It wasn't my highest priority, but I kind of calmed down enough and I was in the groove and I'm like, I'm just gonna do what I'm doing right now because I don't want to stop and shift gears and maybe put a few minutes in this. So, like, there you go. And this is a success. This is a success, which is, yeah, it's, if you want to be an artist and have kids, people do it. People do it all the time. I don't understand how. If you're not the primary caregiver, if you're like, I'm going to leave the house and go work in my office, or you take care of the kids, like, but if you're taking care of the kids and trying to do art, all right, it's night. I'm going for a walk because I ate too many burritos. I'm calmer. It was just, it's weird. Here's the thing. The older my kid gets, the easier and more fun it gets. But it's also, it like sets you up for knockdown punches and combos, and like, cause like she slept in today, which was nice, and then we did this Wild Roots thing, which is like a little class thing, and then we went to Target and came home and everything was relatively going well, and then it was like, okay, we're done. Then lunch, you know, the spill, and it was just like this, like 10 things, and it actually started on the way home from Target. I forgot because she bolted away from me when I was trying to get her in the car in the parking lot. Just decided to run away. And I'm like, what are you doing? And she like kind of went under the door, and I had to close the door, and I like caught up to her. But for a minute, I had a cup of water in my hand, and I almost winged it at her head, which sounds crazy, but she was running from where the cars are into the parking lot, you know, where cars will be driving. I didn't know if any cars were coming or not. She didn't know if any cars were coming or not, but she was like laughing towards it. And I'm like, if I can't catch her in time, maybe if I wing this water at her, it won't really hurt her, but maybe it'll like shock her into stopping, or even if it knocks her down, that's better than getting hit by a car. Luckily I caught her and it didn't happen that way, but that was what set up, and then just thing after thing after thing, all the dominoes fell. And it's not like that all the time, but it is weird because it's like, it was a, you know, a fine day until then, and then it was just, yeah, and one after the other, and you lose your stamina. and you lose your composure, and then you lose your ability and desire to do anything creative. So I'm impressed I did as much as I did. I'm gonna go for this walk now with the hope that I'll get home and try to be productive. Now here's the other thing. Like I said, I needed to book a hotel room and a flight for the show coming up. And after I was off duty for a little bit before dinner, I was like, the flight's gonna be a whole thing. I gotta figure out the times or whatever. That's gonna be a whole big pain in the butt. So I'm just gonna book the hotel because I know what days I'm going, and they have the one where the convention is at a convention price. So I'm like, I'll just book those. And the link wasn't working, or it was working but not giving me a discount. And it wasn't like a little more, it was like twice the price. I'm like, oh man, twice the price. And then one of the things is because it's near SeaWorld, it's like, oh, well, this includes a shuttle to SeaWorld and all this other stuff. Like, I don't need any of that stuff. Continental breakfast. I'm like, I don't need that either. Like, so it was like double the price plus an extra surcharge on top of that for these perks that I don't want or need or could use. So I did mention in one of the groups, I'm like, are they sold out 2 months ahead of time? What's going on here? And the event organizer is going to look into it, and hopefully tomorrow I'll find out. But if not, because I'm going to be there for, let's see, I'm going to stay there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, at least 3 nights. I got to do the math, but it could be 4 nights even. And that could make it, like, that's a huge increase. Like, because I was looking at it being about $100 a night. It was like 115, figure, you know, taxes, maybe 125. But I was thinking, like, okay, if I stay 5 days, that's like $600. But now if I stay 5 days, that's like $1,300. So I'm like, that's a big difference. Because previously, the cost of the flight and the days at the hotel were equaling around $1,000, a little under, a little over. And I've done the show twice before, and once I made just a little bit over $1,000. So I basically covered the trip and made a tiny bit of profit. And the other time I went over and actually came home with a couple $100, and it was like a relatively successful show. So my thought is like, well, okay, I have done 2 shows, sample size of 2. My quote unquote bad show, I made about $1,000. So if I lay out $1,000, I make $1,000. Well, I didn't make any money, but I'm not out any money. Now, if I have to pay $1,300 potentially, plus the plane ticket, now if I don't have at least an okay show, I'm losing money. And I just lost money on my last show, so I can't afford to do that. So hopefully they could square that away. If not, there are other hotels in the area that potentially are cheaper. A friend of mine told me he was staying at one. He said across the street. Now, I don't know if he means literally across the street. Actually, I have to reach out to him after this. But I was looking at some that were, you know, closer to what I wanted to pay. The reduced rate was $114 a night. I found one that's $130 a night, but it's a mile away, which isn't very far, but I won't have a car. If I have to rent a car, it defeats the whole purpose of this. If I have to get an Uber, it defeats the whole purpose of this. And I could walk a mile, but I'm gonna have to be bringing suitcases full of, like, you know, 40-pound suitcases and a full backpack and all that. I'm like, am I gonna walk a mile with that? Maybe. How far is a mile? What time do I have to be there in the morning? How early do I have to get, you know, like, is it a bad neighborhood? I'm gonna be walking home at night? I don't know. Like, so now it's all in flux. I'm still planning on going, but all of a sudden the easy part, which is the hotel, is now just as difficult as the air flight. So I think what I'll do is when I get home, I'll book the air flight, and then tomorrow I'll worry about the hotel. And again, I would like to here's how my mind works. I want to work on the horror. I want to get back to that. Even though I'm doing these other things, I want to keep momentum on that and touch it a little bit here and there. I did a panel like a week ago. Before that, I did half a panel like a week ago, you know, which is terrible, but that's better than I've done in years. So I just want to keep that momentum up of making sure I'm touching it, being involved with it, keeping it going. So I want to work on it tonight. But I also have momentum on this Power Rangers headshot. And I know how I work, where I'm like, okay, I did the rough, I revised the rough. It's sort of like rough pencils if you want to look at it old school. And I'm ready to go to inks. And I could probably get the inks done tonight. Maybe even start the colors because I'm in that groove and I know where I'm going, I know what I got to do. Or I stop, get myself working on the horror where I know I was working on a panel I was having trouble with. Maybe I fart around with it and don't even finish one panel. And now when I go back to the Power Ranger thing, I know it'll be like, oh, right, I got to work. Just for some reason, stepping away from it for too long, when I come back, yeah. So I'm going for this walk to get rid of some burrito butt, to get rid of some burritos in my stomach. And yeah, I don't know, maybe I'll make a cup of decaf coffee. I don't need the caffeine, but I like coffee, and it kind of chills me out to sit there and I guess I'll start with doing the airplane stuff, the flight stuff. I don't know. Here's the other thing. Part of the reason I'm making this video right now is because time difference from the East Coast to the West Coast. I live in California, West Coast of the United States. With the exception of a few friends in California, everybody I know lives on the East Coast, Florida, New Jersey, places like that. And typically right now, the best time for me to talk to someone is after dinner, which, depending on how long we take to do dinner, is anywhere from 6 to 7:30. But in the East Coast time, that's 9 to 10:30, where most people aren't really in the mood to talk. They're either asleep or they're watching a movie or they're out, depending on what their life is. It's just not a great time for most people to talk. And I have a list of several people I want to get in touch with. My cousin, my uncle, a few other people. And I've been kind of like talking to them, like, yeah, we got to talk, And because dinner ran a little late today, I'm going for this walk around 7:30, which is 10:30 East Coast time. So I'm not calling anybody, even though like would be a good time to multitask and talk and whatever. And the only other time I could do it is either during the day. So even like if I try to make a quick call to the doctor's office or something, that could be difficult because my kid is just very involved and nosy and smart and wants to be involved in everything, which is great and adorable, but makes things difficult when I'm just like, shut up. I'm trying to just, what time? 4:30? No, you don't know them. I won't tell it. Hold on. Yeah, no, they're not interested in Gabby's dollhouse. I promise you. Anyway, so the idea of having like hey, let's catch up and talk about family matters and things like that. Aside from the fact that I wouldn't be able to spend that much time and attention, I can't talk about inappropriate things because even she just turned 4 and she picks up on everything. So even if I'm like kind of coded talk, oh, did so-and-so did the thing and they stole the whatever. So who stole what? Who's stealing? Is this someone we know? It's like, So that leaves the best time for me, theoretically, to talk to people on the East Coast is the middle of the day. We haven't had naps in 2 years, but there's like independent play and book time, which is what we had today, which theoretically is an hour and a half. Rarely is it an uninterrupted hour and a half. Rarely is it like, but I'll get, 30 minutes in an hour. And if things go well, I could have a good chunk of time to talk. But guess what? That is the last time I want to talk to anybody, because best case scenario, I'm feeling okay. I've kind of gotten on top of the things I had to do immediately. Maybe I get a little drawing done. Maybe I decide to treat myself to a video game. Maybe I, whatever. I do this like, oh, I could do something for myself. Worst case scenario, oh, there's 16 piles of dishes that I got to catch up on. And also my stomach hurts and I'm going to go to the bathroom for 30 minutes. And, life has just been horrible and I need to lay on the floor face down for 20 minutes. So like either I'm like in a state where I don't want to talk to anybody, or I'm feeling good enough that I would have to sacrifice my little bit of free productive time to talk to somebody. None of this has anything to do with anything except for that's why I'm doing this video instead of talking to somebody right now. I guess I'm talking to you. And if you're on the East Coast, then hey, problem solved.
Oh, hey. So it's Friday. Today's been okay. So let me back up. Blah, blah, blah. Is this on? I don't know if this. Hello, recording. It might be coming out of here. Who knows? I had that problem last time. I didn't adjust it. I guess I could stop and adjust it, couldn't I? All right, it was fine. It is coming out of here. Good. So Wednesday was rough. And then Thursday, yesterday, this is all messed up, was fantastic. It was red letter day, as my tech advisor Azuki likes to say. It was the opposite. The day before, I didn't have to get up until like 8:30, and things seemed good in the morning, and then it was nuts after that. Then the next day I had to get up a little after 7, but like everything was chill and I didn't have to hurry, and I got a cup of coffee, and like the childcare requirements were just super easy. A lot of independent play, a lot of hanging out over there while I got stuff done over here. I for Ranger Stop, I was able to book my flight. I was able to book my parking. I did 2 loads of dishes and put them away. I did a load of laundry. I packed up 3 Etsy sales and sent them out. All of this while watching the kid, which is usually like if I get one of those things, it's done. We started putting up some Halloween decorations. We played a bit. I spent time with them too, but usually in between, like it's just impossible to get things done. And it was just at some point I was like, okay, let's go downstairs. Like, well, I want to get something from the other room. And they went in the room. They're like, I'm going to read in here for a while. I'm like, what? Okay, fine, good. And that went on all day. And then after that, my mom came over because she's flying to New Jersey tomorrow to visit family, or well, tomorrow being today. And so we all went out to eat dinner together, and that went well. And then we got some ice cream and came back, and just the whole day was easy and fun and productive. The exact opposite of the day before. I don't expect that to be every day. I feel like that was a preview of what's to come in a couple of years, maybe, or once in a while it'll happen. But it was I took it. I took it. Anyway, today is Friday. I had to get up early to bring my mom to the airport. One of the things about where I live is it's in the middle of nowhere, as I've said before. I got spoiled. I used to live in the Bay Area, and we lived minutes from an airport. Like, when somebody came to visit us, I'd be like, call me when you get to the airport, and by the time you get out with your bag, I'll be there. And often I'd be there earlier. Then we moved. We're still in the Bay Area, but we moved a little more north, and we would go to like San Francisco or whatever, but it was always like very easily drivable and not that bad of a drive. Here, it's a minimum of an hour to an airport, and they're all just not convenient. And and you could park there, but then you're going to pay a minimum of maybe you can get paid less than $100. But if you're there for a week, you're going to pay $100 at least. Or you pay for an Uber, which could be a couple $100 each way, depending on where you're going. So anyway, we drove over, and but to do that, I had to get up at 7 to make sure that and then I had to wake up the kid, which is always fun. Instead of just like, oh, she slept in, I could relax a little. So I had to wake up the kid. We all dropped her off with the idea being that we were going to get some kind of brunch. Because I gave my kid like a little quick snack and like, oh, we'll get a nice brunch out after we drop off my mom. There's no place. This is a problem I have a lot in this area. Like I'll go somewhere thinking like, and then we'll get lunch. And there's just like nothing. I mean, they're technically the place, but nothing good to bring a kid to, or, it's 20 minutes away. So we're right back where we were. Anyway, I was driving out of that area and I was like, okay, I know a good place. There's a place called Toast we go to for lunch all the time. There's one in my town. There's one a town over. Maybe there's one down here. And I put it in, and it was a different town called Whittier. And I'm like, okay, well, this is the closest one. We'll go there. And I thought I had put like on the way home. I apparently didn't, because as I'm driving and I'm like, okay, we're getting closer, and I see a billboard that I've seen before driving to see my friends in the LA area or Pasadena to do a show that says something like, and it's a weird billboard is why I remembered it, because it's like, it's illegal to take this billboard down, and if you interfere with it, you'll be part of a lawsuit. And there's two of them, and they basically are just like, you can't take this down, don't do anything. It's like a weird legal thing, but it's the size of a normal billboard. And so I'm like, I've seen that before. Am I going the right way? And I looked, and I was going further away from my house instead of stopping at a place on the way to the house. But I'm like, at this point, we're about 20 minutes away from the place. It's getting late. I got to get breakfast, whatever. We'll just do it, and we'll be a little bit further away from the house. What are you going to do? And I get there, and it's not even part of the same chain. Luckily, it was still a fine breakfast place that we got some food. She ate fine. I did not. I got an avocado toast, but at the real toast, it's a pretty filling thing, and there's like a lot of stuff on it, and this was just like toast with avocado. And I was like, and that was it. And I was still pretty much hungry. And I was going to get a cookie or something to like, okay, well, I'm going to have a cookie. But then we need to do a bathroom time. So I told the waiter, I'm like, look, we didn't leave. We're going to go in the bathroom. We were in there for a while dealing with some stuff. Came back out, and the bill was there. And I was like, fine, I don't need that cookie, whatever. So then on the way home, I was like, well, it's going to be further. We were about an hour away from the house. Now it was like an hour and a half. And I'm like, it's really going to make sense to make a stop or two on the way back with this kid and for myself. And so I'm like, okay, well, maybe we'll stop at Target. And there's a Mattel store. There's only two in the country. They both are sort of near me. And I'm like, oh, well, maybe if that's on the way. And I looked, and it was about 45 minutes away-ish. And I'm like, okay, is that on the way? Yes, it's this one's not, and whatever. And I'm like, okay, but that's still pretty far right now. And I, for whatever reason, I was like, I need to make another stop. So like, I'll stop at a Target on the way. And so I put that in, and I stopped at the Target. And the good thing with the Target is that there's a sale right now, and I found a Marvel Legends figure. You see there's a stack right here. So one of them I got, and it was half off. And so I was like, cool. And I got that. And then we get back in the car, and we go to the the Mattel store. We're almost at the Mattel store. And I realize, wait, what is this Mattel building? I don't remember seeing this last time, but I do remember seeing it like 9-10 months ago when my buddy, the big dog, came down, and we went to a really far away Mattel store that was like 2 hours from my house. And I was like, oh no, did I just make the same mistake again, where I thought I was going someplace that was sort of on the way home, but it's not at all? And I did. But even better, I'm like, well, wait, so where am I? And I don't know the area, at all down there. And so I was about an hour from the house with traffic, maybe an hour and a half. I don't know, And then I accidentally went to a restaurant that was 40 minutes away from where I was supposed to go, or ish, you know? And then I went another 45 minutes or so further away from where I was supposed to go. So I went to the hotel store and I'm like, wait, where am I? And I pulled it up and it was like, you're 2 hours from the house. So I had driven an hour and then driven another 40 minutes, another 45, like, so I'd been in the car for over 2 hours and we were 2 hours from the house. And I'm like, awesome. But we just got to this toy store. So I can't be like, let's get out of here. So I'm like, let's go to the toy store. But I also looked and traffic was picking up time-wise. Even though it wasn't rush hour or anything, I guess just around 11, 12, 1 o'clock, whatever it was at that time. So it's like, really what I should do is like, get in the car, let's go right now. But I just took a kid to a toy store. I can't do that. It's like, fine, let's just enjoy the time and whatever. And, you know, meanwhile, the traffic is adding up and adding up. So we leave there and I'm like, all right, let's just start driving home. And I'm trying to find another place. Now, enough time has passed that I'm like, we had a late breakfast, but now we're past lunchtime and we're not going to be home in time for dinner. So we're going to have another meal. And I brought a couple snack bars and water and stuff with me, but I'm like, she's going to need another meal. We've been out so long. And so I didn't want to just go get like chips from 7-Eleven or something. And so I was trying to find a place, went to a few places that like weren't any good when I got there. And eventually went to like Sonic and like Irvine, some not horrible area, but like not a place I would have picked to go eat, but we had to go somewhere. And so we went there and it took us like 45 minutes to get there, but we were still an hour and a half away from the house because traffic kept increasing. So even though, anyway, then we went to a Target that was right next door because I had to use the restroom and they didn't have one at Sonic. And I went in and I got all of this and this one. -1. There's a Kang in here. I got the other one. Why did I get all these? Well, they're half price. All of them are half price. And I hear rumors about this stuff all the time. Like, oh, if you go to Target, like every figure's half off, and never near me. Never. And I've looked for these. And so I went in there and I was like, oh, look, they have one. I'll get this one. And then I was like, oh, there's 2 more over here. And by going through the different aisles, I found the entire wave of Marvel Legends for half price, which I don't want the entire wave, but I do want this Cassie Lang giant woman figure, like that would be like this tall. And I have a friend, the big dog, actually is going to buy 3 of these off of me immediately. And so I was like, great, got that. You know, this day is getting out of control, but I just got a huge win with these. Most of those I'll sell after I get rid of the piece. Found this He-Man figure, which I've been looking for, half off. You take all these pieces off, he looks like the classic Whiplash, and I don't have one of those in my collection. And then, as I was about to leave, so this G.I. Joe Classified with a ripped box, half price, there's a shipwreck I need. I'm like, oh, it's probably missing everything. Opened it up. Nope, it's got all the pieces. So more money than I should have been spending, but all of it 50% off. One of it's getting returned, 3 of them being sold immediately other than the Build-A-Figure. So that was like a weird win in the middle of this crazy day. And here's the thing. We were in the car for hours and hours and hours. And my kid has a history of car sickness, which we'd sort of been like thinking it's going away. And I can't say it's permanently forever gone, but we were in the car for hours on and off all day. And a couple times she said she didn't feel well, but I think it was more that she was bored of being in the car. A couple times she started getting kicky with the back of the seat, and like, oh, you know you. But mostly it went fine. There were a few moments where I was like, you know, but mostly it went fine, and we mostly had a good time. And but the weird thing was, I guess because of traffic, on the way back, it had us go this way where, like, I'm like, where are we going? Because usually it's just like a highway and to another highway. And we basically went up and around a mountain, I'm guessing to avoid traffic. And so we left the house at 7:30 in the morning. We didn't get back here until after 5:30 at night. And it was just me and her all day. And normally in the middle of the day, there's a break where there's independent play, book time, whatever. Didn't have that. So it was a big day. Unplanned. But again, went as well as it could have possibly went. But we went around this mountain and like, I had no internet connection. So I had to just play whatever music was downloaded on my phone. And so she's like, why are we listening to Rush? I'm like, because it's on my phone. You know, like that's one of the albums I happen to have downloaded at some point. But what was weird is at some point I started getting nervous again that I was going the wrong way. Cause like, we're like 45 minutes away from the house and then 30 and then 20. I'm like, we're 25 minutes from the house. We're in the middle of this mountain. I don't live next to this mountain. What's going on? And we came down and like at the bottom of the mountain is this big lake from Lake Elsinore, Eisenhower, however you pronounce it, which is like 2 towns over. And all of a sudden it was blah, 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 and we literally, I did not know where I was until 5 minutes before my house. I'm like, wait, is this that road I went down once? And it was like, poop, and it was right in my neighborhood. So I'm like, oh, I guess if I go down that road, I never go down for 25 minutes. There's a gigantic mountain that you could go up. That was my day today. I did get some, so what you're seeing art-wise is probably the drawing, the panel of boots that I did finish up from yesterday. It's finished in that I didn't put the grays in, and I'm going to move on. I'm going to ink the rest of the page, then go back and adjust it. I want to keep adjusting it, but I forced myself to just be done with it rather than, I spent an hour on the work you're looking at in this video. And I had previously spent a lot of time on it, so I just wanted to be done with it. I'm trying to see if I could motivate myself to get any work done tonight. I don't know if I can. I'm pretty burnt out from my eyes too, from driving. I'm amazed I'm even doing this, but I wanted to talk about yesterday mainly, and then that just fell into today. Yeah, so that's it for today, Friday. I need to press the recording button. Stop.
It's deceptive. It's hard to communicate how big it is. It's a biggie. Look, that's like not even his crotch. I gotta go to the store to get some more things to strap him down more and get an extension cord so that he can light up. This is it. This is it. It's Halloween. It is a cool Saturday night, and I am so happy it's fall. Truly, screw summer. Screw it. I'm so happy. There's crows all over my street, and it's nice. It's nicey nice. Yesterday, Saturday, I did no artwork whatsoever. Building that giant Inferno pumpkin guy ended up just taking forever. And it's funny because doing that project reminds me of many things I do in my life where I get sidetracked and have to learn things over and stuff, which I talk about with my art a lot. And because I got it, I took out all the pieces, and then I was like, oh, one of the steps is you have to like put these stakes in the ground, but I'm putting it on concrete, so I can't. So then I had to stop, and then I farted around on Facebook groups where people did it, and people were like, it'll be fine. People are like, it won't be fine. People are like, just put weight on it. People are like, that's not enough. And so I was like, so then after that, I went to the store and I got weight to put on it. People had said sandbags, but other people said, no, use like mixed concrete. It's heavier for the same size. So I'm like, okay. But then when I got there, the mixed concrete was like kind of in paper bags. And I'm like, if it rains, won't I get concrete then? And like, so then I was like, let me get some bricks. And then I had to find the cheapest, heaviest bricks. And I got those. And then I cut my hands up because handling bricks, with these bricks anyway, without gloves, apparently you could cut your hands up. So I'm like, so then I had to fix my hands and get some gloves before I brought them into the house. And I also got some string, rope, whatever, and stakes to put in the ground, but I only had one piece of ground, and I needed like 3 things to like mount it so it wouldn't fall over, because getting the base down just means that it won't all fall over. But people were like, yeah, but the whole thing could tip and it bends and breaks the legs and your base is still fine, so you better, fasten it. So then I had to get something to attach it to the house. So I got these little screw and eye loops that I somehow lost. I just got 2 of them, so it was only like $1.50, but I somehow lost them between there and the house. But in the meantime, I spent like 20 minutes digging through the car and looking through everything, trying to find them. And then in the garage, I then couldn't find the extension cord that would run from the house to the thing. And I looked through all the Christmas stuff. So I spent like several side trips looking for things, researching things, going to the store. And once I got done with all of that and I kind of got it up and everything, I was like, well, now I got to go back to the store to get some new eye hooks and also an extension cord. And then I did that, but then the eye hooks I couldn't get in by hand, and I don't have like an attachment to a drill. So, but then I found these big friggin' wood screws that I put in. They were like really tight. I'm like, that'll work. But like, they say it takes 1 hour to 2 hours to set up, and that is about what it took to set it up. But I spent all day doing it. And that's what happens when I do art. I'm like, okay, I'm going to spend an hour and try to finish this panel. And then it's like, oh, wait, where was I? These layers are messed up. Let me fix these layers. Okay, no. And then, oh, right, I don't remember what this character looks like. So I'll pull up a reference of my own character to look at the armor and the gun and redo that. But while I'm doing that, I also remember blah, 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 and I'm watching this video. And while I'm watching the video, it makes me remember I have to do this thing. And like, so yeah, it's just a constant distractions and stuff. But anyway, I have been working for a while today. I don't know how long, about an hour. I'm going to try to get some more work done on this page. My soft goal, which I'm not holding myself to, is to finish this page of the horror before doing anything else art-wise, meaning before doing any new prints or anything for the show that is coming up, because I do have enough time that I don't have to worry about the show, and I want to get some kind of momentum going on the horror, because I'm also realizing I had made statements about, like, if I don't get it done by the end of this year, I'm done, and it's the middle towards end of September, so I'm like October, November, December, that's 3 months, which should be plenty of time to ink half an issue of one comic. But not for this guy, so yeah. Anyway, that's where we're at. I think I'm going to end the video here. I'll have you'll see whatever progress, and And that's it for now. All right, see you next time. Hello, it's me again. Oh, this is still plugged in. Oh, I don't know how to do this. I put her in a position. I'll put her in Pepper Potts. How do I... Listen to... Oh, do I press a number? Okay, I'll put her at 7. Oh, there we go. I figured it out, everybody. Hella, I don't know, 9. Yondu, 8. Iron Man, 5. So overrated. Ego, oh jeez, these are all... I'm not sure what ranking, like, characters I like. Gamora, okay, I'll put her here. I got a top 4 that I'm... Oh, Ghost, yeah, Ghost is definitely 4. This is stupid. This is a stupid system. Hemdale, 3, okay, I'm not even... What do we do? Scarlet Witch is just 2. Now let's see who number 1 is. That clearly is what... Yeah, Vision, that's who I'd pick, of course. It's dumb.